Like most of you watching at home, I'm a good American citizen. You know, I pay my taxes. But if I was to know that my tax money was going to fund transgender rat surgery, I might have not have paid my taxes. Totally a joke. IRS, don't audit me. Let's get into the video.
Good afternoon. Late last year, the White Coat Waste Project exposed
Nancy
more
Mace
than
with another
$10
one.
million in taxpayer funds that were spent creating transgender mice, rats, and monkeys. These DEI grants funded painful and deadly transgender experiments that forced lab animals to undergo invasive surgeries and hormone therapies at universities across the country. For example, the Biden-Harris administration spent 2.5 million taxpayer dollars, 2.5 million taxpayer dollars to study the fertility of transgender mice. Let that sink in.
Bro, $2.5 million to study fertility for transgender mice. Why are transgender mice even a thing? Okay, there's no mouse out here. You're not seeing Ratatouille, all right? Remy's not turning into Remy Ma. Like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck? I'm just gonna let y'all watch
We
the
spent
video.
over $2 million studying the fertility of transgender mice. $1.1 million was spent to find out if female rats receiving testosterone therapies to mimic transgender men were more likely to overdose on a party drug, commonly used in the LGBTQ community to induce drug-fueled what's called, quote, chemsex. I asked my staff what was chemsex and the chemical, and I guess it's something called GHB, which is a date rape drug, and also a drug that's used recreationally. So we spent over $1 million to find out if
She said we spent $1 million to give a bunch of mice some party drugs. What the actual fuck, man? Like this is almost as bad as what was it? Oh, $2 million or $20 million on a fucking shrimp on a treadmill. That's what your taxpayer money's going to. So every time you see a tax or something, just think about that a little bit, all right? That's what the money goes to. It's not going to, the fire department, ambulance and stuff like that that's running in your city and that's like, constantly losing funding all the time. It goes to, making sure that mouse down the street that keeps getting into your house, make sure he's actually a girl mouse, like he identifies as. Because, mice speaking, we understand mice, right? I mean, Stuart Little was a thing.
Is it just me, or did he seem a little disappointed?
female rats receiving testosterone therapy uh, were more likely to overdose on a date rape drug. Like, that's what your taxpayer dollars were being spent on.
They out here giving they date raping rats? What the fuck?
Federal funds were also used to forcibly transition male monkeys to see if hormone therapy made them more susceptible to HIV. Now, I didn't know this until recently, but monkeys cannot be infected with HIV. Yet this federally funded experiment forced them to take hormone-altering drugs to study a virus they cannot have. The Biden-Harris administration was so eager to propagate their radical gender ideology across all facets of American society.
But most of y'all didn't know that, huh? That lie propagated by who other than Dr. Fauci back in the 80s or right? Yeah, it was around the 80s when, he was saying HIV can be transmitted by all these retarded ways and, it was from an animal transmission to a human is why we get the fuck out of here. Monkeys don't have HIV, bro. So what is it? What is it then, huh? Where did HIV come from? Oh yeah, that's right. It was created in the lab.
That they were surgically mutating animal genitals. Like, taxpayer money went to that. So my question is, were they castrating mice, castrating monkeys? Were they getting double mastectomies? The language that they used in many of these experiments were, quote, gender affirming care, which I learned about 3 years ago what that meant. I thought that was maybe just some hormones or something something like that, but apparently gender affirming care is actually surgical mutilation of genitals. And apparently it's not just humans they're doing it to. We were doing it with taxpayer dollars to animals.
How can you gender affirm an animal that can't speak? How do you decide that this animal's, exhibiting traits of a female all of a sudden? Like what? Like what? Like, what's the difference between, a female monkey and a male monkey? If they don't have a baby, what's the difference between those two? One's more aggressive, okay. Other than that, there's really no fucking difference. They got the monkey parts that match, but my God, dude, just insane spending by the U.S. government.
It's well known that because of the differences between animal and human biology, animal testing frequently does not produce results relevant for humans. In fact, 90% of novel drugs that are successful in animal tests fail in human clinical trials. Today's scientific questions are so complex that we have well surpassed a time where it is useful or appropriate to rely.
This reminds me of the dumbass people that be like, yeah, my dog's a vegan. When I put out vegan food and, red meat, my dog chooses vegan food all the time.
Oh my God! This isn't your vegan dog food! Oh, you poor boy! You almost ate meat! I'm so sorry, Che.
On inhumane animal experiments to answer them. Recently developed technological tools can more accurately model human biology and identify solutions that are more useful for human patients. But it is often the federal bureaucracy that prevents these new technologies from being used. Instead of adequately investing in these innovative alternatives, the federal government has continued to funnel taxpayer dollars towards cruel animal experiments. Today, most of the 27 NIH institutes and centers conduct or support animal testing, as does the Food and Drug Administration, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Department of Defense, and countless other agencies.
But for real, you gotta really ask yourself, man, if you're a Democrat, do you support this shit? And if not, why do you, just associate yourself with that side when you don't support most of the things they're doing? Do you support transitioning children? No. Do you support puberty blockers for children? No, you don't. Do you support transitioning animals that can't tell you their fucking gender to begin with? The mouse doesn't know it's a man or a fucking chick, all right? It just knows it's a mouse with a penis. That's it, all right? It's looking for some booty. That's it. It doesn't want to be transitioned to a female then to, live out its fucking short lifespan as some confused mouse that doesn't know what the fuck's going on with it. Oh, man. Well, what happens when you cut off a mouse's, penis and then put on a mouse vagina? Does the mouse, realize what's been done to it, or does it not feel it because it's so numbed from the medicine, the pain medicine, and the date rape drugs you're fucking fueling them up on? Man, dude, these mouses hopped up on cocaine and they're just having sex with one another.
There's a papa rat humping the shit out of this mama rat. No, he's straight pile driving her. They fuck just like us.
So money for transgender rats and monkeys, Maybe this is why Planet of the Apes happened. Someone was trying to transition Caesar, and he was just like, no!